Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. It is Tuesday, July 2nd. Well, I've got a short program for you today. I thought I'd start off with just a random little video clip here. If you remember, one of my little side projects was to put in a new fuel gauge in my Ranger. I got a little clip of that, and then it evolved into a very short clip about the Martins also, because I was right there at the time I was filming it. So here we go. Thought I'd show you that my gas gauge is working. I still have not had to put any gas in this thing since I put the gas gauge in, but we're down to 1/8 of a tank now, so I'm curious to see when I'm going to run out. Will I run out right on E, or will I run out a little before that? You know, it really doesn't make too much difference to me as long as I know when I'm going to run out, versus this thing over here, which I could never see or tell, and it never has been accurate. Of course, it's saying fuel right now, so it's probably pretty low, and I think it is. Boy, you can sure hear the Martins making a racket. Let's see if we can zoom in on them. It's pretty hard to hold it still when it's this zoomed. Can you hear them? They really make a racket. Yeah, they do make a lot of noise. It's amazing how much noise they actually make. If you're here in person, the camera only picks up a percentage of it. It's really loud, actually. It's amazing how loud they are. I noticed there that one of my entrances had come off of one of the bird houses, so that's something else I'll have to fix for next year. But I think I'm going to just go ahead and buy another dozen houses and put up another dozen houses for next year, because it looks like I'm going to need it based on how many birds are here this year. And anyway, that's exciting to me. I know it's probably not all that terribly exciting to you, but I've always enjoyed having purple martins around. And the fact that they keep the horseflies down, they're worth their weight in gold. um, I've talked to you before about of course, my arthritis, but the Dupuytren's contraction also, that thing that draws your hand up. I have it worse in this hand, but right now, there's a BB starting in this hand, which I know that's from the Dupuytren's also. Every time, I try to remember to stretch them all the time, and I got to be honest, the last few days or last couple of weeks even, I really haven't stretched them as much as I normally do. But this is what I do to keep, you can see that it's putting quite a strain on my fingers, because look how red they are. Or at least they look red to me. I guess that's what that is. Anyway, I just strain them like that, and it really, you can feel the strain all through. I mean, it really pulls on those tendons, and it's probably even tearing them to some degree. But that pulls those BBs out. Those tendons drop into like hard masses, BBs like, and it's just, they just draw up into little balls. And I don't know why they do that, but that's what they do. And it'll just draw your whole hand shut or your finger shut and everything. And fortunately, I learned about mine very, very early on, and the doctor was really sharp on that. And in fact, he had it himself. He showed it to me, and his hand was really drawn up. And I said to him, I said, well, if I stretch it every day, do you think that'll still do that? He goes, well, I don't know. If I were you, that's what I'd try. And so sure enough, I've done it like that every day since the mid 90s, or, as many days as I can remember to do it. I do it. And like when I'm driving, I stretch it on the steering wheel. And if you find out, the way you can kind of tell you're getting that Dupuytren's contraction is you'll start to feel kind of like a hard callus. It's usually these three fingers primarily. It's usually not over on your thumb and first finger. It's over here. And so if you start feeling a callus for no reason, you're probably getting it. So if you start feeling that, you probably should start stretching your hand. And it definitely works. And people that don't stretch them, boy, their hands are curled up and they look bad. I mean, it really just draws them up. It's just bad. So there you go. That's my public service announcement for you. And in terms of the arthritis, the medicine ran out on last Thursday, and I'm going to wait on it because honestly, I don't feel much different right now. I mean, I think I get a little sore a little faster out working than when I'm on that medication. But right now, I'm not in any more significant pain than I'm in typically. So I'm just going to stay off of it for a while and see what happens. Let's see. My inspiration for building my water wheel house, I can't remember if I've ever showed you this or not, but I told you I was going to, and I went back through my vlogs and I didn't see where I actually did this. So here's a picture of what was my inspiration for the building I'm building. Now, of course, this one's much nicer. I mean, that's really nice. And I kind of regret that I just didn't go ahead and build a whole rock foundation now, but man, that's a lot of work. Golly, building a rock foundation's a pain in the neck. But I think that rock foundation is really what makes that look so nice with the wooden building. See, the building that I'm building is going to be very, very similar to that one. I'm going to try to even do the cedar shakes on top. I'm going to try to make my own cedar shakes with my sawmill and put a cedar shake roof on it and the whole bit. I forgot I didn't have my mic. Sorry. You probably been commenting about that. Yep, I see it down there now. Sorry about that. But anyway, I'm going to try to make the cedar shakes on my sawmill and make the building, look a lot like that. It's not going to be exactly the same, and that one there is much nicer. But anyway, so going from that, well, here's where I'm at the moment on my water wheel.
Well, it's 5:30 on Monday evening, and I've got the house, first floor of the house, pretty much set up. It is not anchored to the concrete yet, but it is fairly plumb and fairly square, and it's all tied together. This big opening is where the door is going to go, and there'll be wooden trim all the way around it. It'll look really nice when it's done. It just is, you just got to use your imagination right now. Because I'm only making 7-foot high ceilings, this one board is going to be almost touching the door frame. The door frame will have about a 1/2 inch clearance from that, maybe an inch. But anyway, you can see that this wall's connected, the corners are connected. There will be corner trim also. So it's got a lot of trim work to do yet to make it look really nice. But it's looking pretty good. Of course, I have to build the little short wall over there yet on the top of that rock wall to match the height of these walls here. And the parts that run wild up here, they'll get cut off with the floor, I guess, once I get the floor in. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that yet, but anyway, I let them run wild because I don't know how I'm going to do it, and that's the reason they're running long. They'll be cut off to the appropriate length at a later time. You can see the water wheel's still turning there. I got to fix that leak there in that concrete wall. That's not a good thing. You would know you'd have to have a problem like that. It couldn't just be easy. Has to happen like that. But anyway, I'm really pretty happy with the progress so far, doing it all by myself. JR helped me set the 2 big walls. I did this end wall here by myself, but it was all I could do by myself, I'll tell you that. I didn't want anything more than that. We'll keep you posted as we make more progress.
Yeah, those walls are way heavier than they look. I don't know why. I thought they'd be kind of light. They're only 10 feet long, the 2 side walls, and then that end wall with the door is only 8 feet wide. But just that 8-foot wide door by itself, I mean, that wall, I don't know. I hesitate to say it's 200 pounds, but pretty darn heavy. I think I could lift it off the ground if I had to, but it's pretty darn heavy. I'm amazed how heavy it is, actually. And then, JR did help me put them all in the general area, those two sidewalls in the general area, because they're much bigger and much heavier. But he wasn't there when I stood them all up straight. They were all just kind of leaning, and so I had to stand all three of those walls up together, get them plumb, nail them together, and doing that all by myself. It's like a Chinese jigsaw puzzle or something. It's pretty hard to do. But anyway, moving on to the comments, I think I'm ready for that. For my today's plans, it's going to be pretty boring. I'm going to catch up on paperwork and email because I am way behind on that again. I've got to when I go into town this evening to play at Dickey's, I'm going to make a stop at the hardware store and get the anchors for the concrete. So tomorrow I'll probably be anchoring all that down to the concrete. Right now it's just freestanding basically, but I've got cross braces and everything. So it'll stand for a very long time. I mean, if there was a 50-mile-an-hour wind or something, it might be a problem. But, other than that, it should be just fine. Well, let's see. John Pepper was the first one to check in. Rod Wintler, Carolyn Fike, David Tharp. Looking for those question marks. Dottie says, good morning, everybody. Hope all have a blessed day. She's praying for us. We thank you, Dottie. Let's see. David Tharp, research shows that 6 out of 7 dwarfs are not happy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true. Let's see. Papa Tom, I did get that one, by the way. Papa Tom played in clubs every weekend for years, had to join union and paid a booker, but did not belong to ASCAP or pay them a dime. Yeah, I've noticed there's a lot of comments about ASCAP today, and they are really relentless. That's all I can tell you for sure. How they find out about you, I don't know. I don't know if somebody, rats you out or what the deal is. But let me give you the full story on our situation. When I approached the owner about playing at Dickey's, because he had owned Cooking from Scratch, and we played there. Well, ASCAP found out about it apparently there, and they started giving him trouble, and we quit playing about the same time that the restaurant closed, and the ASCAP thing was more or less a non-issue at that point. So apparently ASCAP right at the tail end there was starting to give him trouble. Well, then when he opened the Dickey's restaurant, I asked him if we could play there, and he says, well, that ASCAP deal, I don't want to deal with it, and he wasn't going to let us play. And I said, well, what if we, pay the ASCAP fees? And so turned out they were, I don't know, 400 and something or whatever that first year, and I said, we'll just pay it, and we'll take it out of our tip money, and just not worry about it. Because we really just... For us, it's just a good place to practice, and plus you have an audience, which is nice, I mean, you're basically practicing in front of an audience, but the people kind of know that, and we're just it's just a free form, fun time, and yeah, we had the ASCAP thing, but it's, we just deal with it. Well, it turned out he paid half the ASCAP fee. He says, he didn't make us pay the whole thing. He paid half of it, the owner did. So that was pretty nice of them. Well, and then the next year we paid it again. Well, now this year they've increased it up to like $570 but now we're only playing half as much as we were playing before. The crowds are even down because we're only playing half as much. I mean, we're only playing for maybe 20 people at a time, generally speaking. Some nights it's more than that, but I would say 15 to 20 people is probably the average, And to pay $570, me personally, I don't think it's worth it. And I don't even think I'd mind it if I thought that money was getting back to the people that were playing their songs, but it's not. I mean, we're playing songs, for people that are long dead and people that are, not known to the real big music industry, I mean, like they've got one or two songs that people play and that's it, Like, I seriously doubt that any of the money that for the songs we're playing gets back to the people that wrote the songs. I just seriously doubt it. And just like all organizations, the people at the top are getting rich. Now, I know that the big stars are getting money from ASCAP. There's no doubt. But, it's just, there's no way that could ever be equitable. There's just no way. It's not even possible. So that's where the decision lies tonight, as I'm going to present it to the group and see if they want to keep playing or just, and we'll pay the fee. And, if the owner still chips in half, that's great, but I don't know if they will or not. And we'll just take the other half out of our tips and things and, let it happen the way it happens. And, I know some people say, well, I never pay to play anywhere. Well, I typically don't either, but this is a special case and we're trying to, first of all, the owner's a friend and we're trying to help him out, get a little business in there. And it does bring in business compared to if we weren't there. There's, 8 or 10, 15, 20, some nights that are there because we're there. And that's definitely better business for him, So anyway, the bottom line is I don't know what we're going to do. And, I think the idea of ASCAP is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing exactly. I'm not really knocking them. It's just that I don't like the way they treated me. When I sent them an email and told them the exact circumstances, they just basically ignored everything I said and just said, here, you pay this amount. And it was the same amount. It's like you didn't even acknowledge I'm a person, and that really burns my britches. So that's where I'm at with them right now. Let's see. Larry Fisher says Mike Morgan shot his Samsung washing machine that kept quitting he shot it with a shotgun on his channel years ago. It seems like I do remember seeing that. I always watch Morgan Outdoors with the Morgans is what it's called. And I don't know why I watch it exactly, because I think a lot of this, he's really particular on stuff. And it's like, okay, fine. I would have to let a few of the things slide that he is really picky about. Like, for instance, spreading gravel. He never lets the truck spread it. He has to spread it with his bucket. Well, that's a lot of wear and tear on your machine, and the truck can spread it, and then you can just go straighten it out with your machine instead of making 40 trips back and forth, I don't know. It's just silly things like that he does. Papa Tom, Bill Webb played guitar with a very large church for years. They belong to CCLI. Members reported songs being played. Payments were based on size. Yeah. Well, I mean, technically that's what it's supposed to be like, I think. But again, I just say one more time that I wouldn't care to pay it at all. It wouldn't bother me at all. Even if it was more than what they're asking, I wouldn't mind it if I thought the money was getting to the people that deserve it. But it's not. There's no way it is. Papa Tom will watch vlog later. My wife and I take care of 4 grandchildren every Tuesday, ages 3, 8, 10, and 13. We are both in our 70s. Prayers welcome. Well, you need it. Good luck with all that. That sounds like I know what that's like. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrandt, ASCAP sounds like they want to control every aspect of your playing. How do they find out you are playing at those events? Well, I don't really know how they found out. And, all I know is they don't give up. I know that. So the only way I know to get them off my back is just to quit, Donald Matthews, Itchy Boots posted on Facebook, birthday at a motorcycle races. Looks like she's healing well. Yeah, the last thing I saw on her, she looked like she was doing pretty well. Still can't figure out how they ended up puncturing her along. And I know somebody said that, the bones and stuff, setting them was real close to the lung. I get that, but it still seems like that could have been avoided. Terry Hackard says, ordered strings from a shop which name could be translated as Express Strings. 8 days later, I received a refund. Oh, he says, I ordered. I thought that was Lord. Okay, I got it. I ordered strings from a shop which name could be translated as Express Strings. 8 days later, I got a refund. Okay. David Tharp, don't you imagine that the first telephone was not very useful until he came up with the second telephone? Yeah, having worked for the phone company, I've heard this story about Watson and Alexander. And we went to Alexander's Canadian home while we were up in Nova Scotia area. That was pretty cool. It's a neat museum. I didn't know he was into so many other things like he was. I knew he had a lot to do with the deaf, but he was into a lot of other things too. David Tharp, I used to play piano by ear, but it gave me a headache. Now I use my fingers. Thea Chris, it's been a while since I've seen that name, I think. Why can't a bicycle stand on its own? Because it's too tired. Let's see. It scrolled on me. Gotta find it. I don't know where it went. Okay, there it is. Yeah, and Rod's telling me, get my microphone. Well, sorry about that. I don't know if you heard what I was saying about the Doopy trends with the BBs in my hands. They're starting to come back, so I'm doing more and more stretching. I recommend if you've got Doopy trends contraction, or I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's how the doctor pronounced it, but it's spelled D-U-P-U-Y-T-R-E-N-S. Or T-R-E-N, and then there's apostrophe S. Dupuy trends is the way it looks like to me, but anyway, people usually just shorten it to Doopy trends. Richard Herbranson, morning, Jerry. I sent money for the last Thursday's concert, but it said you have to create a PayPal account and need accept the money. Said you have 10 days to accept it. Well, I definitely have a PayPal account, so, I've been accepting money with PayPal for years and years, and I don't generally have to do anything for any one specific purpose. So my guess would be that perhaps the email was slightly wrong. Rosa Stringworks at gmail.com, ROSASTRINGWORKS. It has to be exactly like that jammed together at gmail.com. So I would assume that the email was slightly off, is what I would assume, because there's no problem with me receiving PayPal. Been doing it for years and years and years. Sidecar Bob, Rigger, ASCAP, American, okay. So, yeah, there's a couple people spelling out the names. Christia Thomasson also. Let's see. Looking for question marks. Dottie, nice job on the building walls for the water wheel. It's going to look pretty nice when it's done. Once you get all the trim on it there, get that door in there, and then I'm going to put the wooden trim around that too, just like I have around that window. So it's going to look pretty cool, I think. Yeah, I just lucked out on the height there. I thought I had, being 7 foot high ceiling, I thought for sure that I would have more than enough room to get that door in. Well, it turned out I have an extra 3/8 more than I need, which is plenty, but not any more than I need for sure. It's amazing how that worked out. That worked out just by accident, honestly. I thought I had plenty. I didn't even think too much about it, honestly. Christia Thomasson, ASCAP was sued in the 30s under the Antitrust Act and has been operating under a consent decree since 41. You can go to court if you can't get good terms. Okay. Cup of Cool, not only does the old water wheel look great with all that cedar, I bet it smells great too. Yeah, it does. That cedar smells really nice. Yeah, ASCAP sounds like OSHA. Yeah, well, You know, I don't know. There's BMI and there's ASCAP. BMI, I don't know if I could define the difference. I register my stuff with BMI. And I used to register, and I haven't registered anything in years and years and years. I registered 2 or 3 things with BMI, and I did get royalties for a while when those things were being played quite a bit when they got sent out. But they were very small checks. But at least I got some, so it's kind of cool. Yeah, Joe pay to play, what a bunch of BS. Well, I mean, it's just the way it is, you know. And if you were the songwriter, I get the fact that it's great for the songwriter to be paid for his material. You know, I get that. But, you know, there's no way to do it equitably. You know, there's no way. It's not possible. And I get that it's not possible. So to me, ASCAP ought to be a little more flexible because of that, but they're not. They're just as rigid as they can be. Ben Boyd, why not just play your own songs? You've got several written. They're as good as any others. Well, yeah, but the other people in the band, that would mean that I'd be the only one doing anything, and they probably wouldn't even come. So I'd be there by myself. Christia Thomasson, Joe, why would you object to composers getting paid for their work? Who said I did? Oh, she's talking to Joe. Sorry. ASCAP distributed $1.254 billion in royalties, and in 2021, membership surpassed 900,000 in 2022. Yeah, I don't have a problem paying ASCAP. That's not really the problem. The problem is they're just black and white and no gray area and won't even talk to you. You know, if you know, that's just not right, in my opinion. You know, if they were somewhat reasonable about it and would listen to you and work with you, then I'd have no problem at all. But that's not the way it's turning out, you know, and that's what makes me mad. You know, it's just, I don't know, it's just as arbitrary as it can be. Bill Rhodes says, good morning. Hugh O'Connor, if people use PayPal, they should use the friends family option. Okay. That's good to know, because I didn't know that exactly. Richard Herbranson, I'll try regarding resending the PayPal. Well, thank you, Richard. Christia Thomasson, ASCAP is well known for their transparency, said no one ever. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm not really picking on them exactly. I'm picking on the guy that I was dealing with because he's just as arbitrary as he could be. There was no gray area, I'll listen to you. Oh, yeah, what you're saying makes sense. I'll see if we can adjust that for you. Nothing. It's just, in fact, the fee went up and we're playing way less and for the smallest crowd ever. And it just doesn't sound right to me. Just doesn't sound right. So because of that, I'm probably going to end it unless the band says they want to keep going with it. If they do, well, then we'll pay it and keep going, you know. But that'll be figured out tonight, I think. That's going to be it right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. We got 156 viewers at the moment. I think I'm going to get busy on the paperwork and stuff because I am way behind. And we will see you tomorrow with something else.